presentation, but the Penny Brawn Centre has a plate that shows you the ideal types of foods that you should be eating. So I have a copy of it here, and I'll happily give it to some. Maybe we can get it photocopied. My printer died on me this morning. But it basically shows the type of foods that you should be eating. And I think in terms of keeping things simple and not being too nutritionist about things, what they're advising is that your plate, if you picture your plate, half of your plate should be fruit and veg. 20% of it should be your complex carbs. So that's your potato or your whole grain rice or your whole grain pasta. 20% of it should be your protein, whether that's your fish, eggs, dairy, meat, and 10% of it should be healthy fats. It is important to eat healthy fats, and things like butter are absolutely fantastic. So I'll come in terms of healthy fats. Nuts and seeds are full of healthy fats that we need. Every single cell in our body needs healthy fats to keep the cell membrane fluid. It's really important. Things like cold pressed vegetable oils, when you're making a salad dressing, just to throw in a little bit of extra virgin olive oil or something like that, that's very high in omega-9. So that's how you get your omega-9 instead of supplementing it. I've already talked about oily fish. Someone else? Hi there. And butter and things like avocados as well. So avocado is a really good source of oil, and they're also quite high in calories, so very good for throwing into things like sandwiches or even into smoothies, just to add up to bulk it out a little bit. Examples of complex carbs in terms of the 20% of your plate that should be complex carbohydrates are things like the whole grains, like I've said, whole grain rice, oats, spelt, rye and other breads. It doesn't just have to be the normal bread, or whole grain crackers. Think about your snacks, so things like Ryvita or oat cakes, rice cakes are quite good for snacks as well, to get your whole grains in. Proteins are things like fish, your pulses, your chickpeas, lentils, beans are also proteins, nuts and seeds, eggs, chicken. And if you're buying eggs and chicken, I think it is worth paying for quality where you can. And free range, at least, I would say. Some people would say you should only be buying organic eggs and organic chicken. So the cheap, what we call the cheap chicken, the €3-4 chicken that you can buy everywhere, those chicken have been fed rubbish, so the quality of their meat is not as good as it should be. And actually chicken, a little bit like the farmed salmon, heavily farmed chicken is very high in saturated fat. It's actually quite low in nutrients, so I would avoid it. It's one of the foods that I would say avoid. Go free range if you can, or organic if you can. So sometimes it's better eating a little bit less and just going for the quality. Talking about organic food, do any of you buy organic food? Yeah.
I will try and buy some.
It is hard because A, it's quite hard to buy good organic food. B, some of it is extremely expensive. So fruit and vegetables are not normally that bad depending on where you buy them. And the research on organic food is a little bit mixed, but we do know that organic food is free from pesticides and in most cases from most additives. And we know that pesticides and additives do have detrimental health effects. Some of them can cause cancer and a number of other illnesses. Some research also shows that organic fruit and veg has higher nutrient levels, things like zinc and selenium that we're talking about, and vitamin C, but some of the research shows that it's just the same. So I would say, and what I advise my patients is, if you can eat organic, that's fantastic. You're cutting out pesticides and things like that, but sometimes it's better to eat fresh, the freshest food that you can. So an organic apple that's been picked in New Zealand 4 months ago and flown in and looks a little bit tired on the shelf is probably not going to be as good as something that is not organic but's just been picked last week down the road. So it's about balance, spending where you can. The general advice on organic is where it's very small, things like grains, so for bread and rice, where the grain is very small, where it will have been exposed to more pesticides, that there it is worth investing in organic. So maybe organic bread and organic grains when you're cooking. In terms of managing weight and avoiding weight loss during treatment, it's common sense, I think, for me. So eating little and often when you can. Anything is better than nothing. So a Mars bar, God, I can't believe I'm actually saying it, but it's probably better than nothing. Sometimes I know people's tastes change dramatically during and after treatment. So and if you feel very nauseous, eating something healthy might not be what you feel like, but try to sip maybe warm water with peppermint or ginger seems to work very well for some people, just to quell the nausea a little bit. and have something small. So a smoothie with some frozen berries, banana, and maybe you throw in an avocado to up the nutrient density. That's a grand meal in itself, or a snack. You can buy protein powders. Well, you can buy them everywhere, but we would always recommend health food stores to get a good quality one that doesn't have lots of additives in it. Something like a hemp protein powder that you can spoon into a juice or into a smoothie can really up the nutrient content of those types of drinks. Or even something like whole grain toast with a nut butter. So I brought along a sample of a nut butter here. So we all think of peanut butter, and peanut butter, just have to be aware when you're buying it, some of the peanut butters in the shops have a lot of sugar in them. You can buy in any supermarket a good peanut butter that has nothing but peanuts in it. In a health food store, there's lots of other nut butters. There's almond, cashew nut, lots of different nut butters, and these are great because you can bring them with you. They're portable, and a couple of 2 or 3 oat cakes with a bit of nut butter and a banana, that would be a really good snack as well. And it's easy to digest. It's not a massive amount of food, but it would give you good quality nutrition. That would be much better in terms of a snack to maintain blood sugar levels than something like a chocolate bar or a slice of cake. But it's about balance. I mean, 80-20, certainly you need your treats in life as well. But swapping some of the less healthy snacks for snacks that are nutritious is going to be very good for health. I brought something else here as well, hummus. Anyone try hummus? I love it. So you can get it in most supermarkets now. This one is from Tesco. If you're really adventurous, you can make your own. It's quite easy, but you can get Tesco. It's a paste made from chickpea and some other nutrients, some other stuff like garlic, which is also very good for the immune system. And you can get plain hummus, so you can get all sorts of different flavors. It's just something to add in a little bit of protein to top your bread or your crackers or whatever, your rye or whatever it is.
You'd be very impressed.
And I am very impressed. I am very impressed. Or things like guacamole, any of the cottage cheese, any of those spreads that are just adding a little bit more nutrition in are really helpful. In terms of supplements, anyone taking supplements? Yeah. I think it's very hard to know what to do with supplements. There's a lot of conflicting evidence and a lot of conflicting advice. From our perspective is we say that you should only take what you need, but most people do need, we're seeing evidence in clinic that most people do need some nutrients. So if you don't eat a lot of fish particularly, you should definitely think about an omega-3 supplement. It's worth testing though to find out what you need. So your doctor, for example, will be able to test your vitamin D to find out, do you need vitamin D? Because vitamin D is fat soluble, which means that if you take too much, it does stay in your tissues. Something like vitamin C is water soluble, so you will just pee it out. And people who are taking too many B vitamins, for example, they get a lovely yellow urine, which is just showing you that you're not overdosing, you're just wasting your money. But we, in terms of general supplement recommendation for people during and after cancer treatment, we would say a good multivitamin, a broad spectrum antioxidant. So antioxidant nutrients, things like vitamin A, C, E, selenium, zinc, they counteract what's known as free radical damage. So they actually help the body to heal itself. And you can get lots of different supplements on the market that have a range of antioxidants and also an omega-3. So those 3 are the main ones that I would recommend for people. A multivitamin and mineral, a broad spectrum antioxidant and an omega-3. But if you have specific issues, then you look for specific help. So, for example, for digestive issues, something like a probiotic supplement can be absolutely fantastic. We've probably all seen the ads for the probiotic yogurt drinks. Those little drinks, that size, actually have 5 or 6 spoons of sugar in them. So from our perspective, we wouldn't be recommending those as a source of probiotics. But you can get probiotics from a health food store in supplement form. For things like nausea, constipation, or any gut problems, probiotics can be very, very helpful, as can something like L-glutamine or aloe vera. I think there's aloe vera over here, and aloe vera can be really soothing for the digestive tract. So you want your digestion working as well as possible, so you're getting the nutrients from what you're eating and it's helping your recovery, and you also feel better. And in terms of taking supplements during and after treatment, we advise that you stop all supplements 2 to 3 days before chemotherapy or radiotherapy or any treatment, and you don't start them until 2 or 3 days after treatment. It is very important because, for example, something like antioxidants, what the chemotherapy is actually doing is destroying all of the antioxidants, so you don't want to be adding some in a supplement form. So just need to be careful. Some supplements are quite strong and you can have a detrimental effect on your treatment. You want your treatment to be as effective as possible, and then use the nutrients to build you up afterwards. And get professional advice. I think it's really important. I see people in clinic who have maybe 5, 10, 15 different supplements at home. They're not sure what to take. Someone has recommended something. They don't know if it suits them, if they're overdoing it by taking too many nutrients. So either come and see a nutritionist or go into a good health food store. We always recommend that you buy your supplements in a health food store. You do get what you pay for in supplements as well, and many other things. But going into a health food store, there's a fantastic one in Rathmines in the Swan Centre called the Hopsack. But any good health food store will have staff who know what they're doing, who can make safe recommendations for you. So you want to avoid things with supplements with sugar or artificial sweeteners. You want to watch what it says in terms of dosage, and unless somebody who knows what they're doing has told you to have more than the dose recommended on the bottle, you should not do so. Check for contraindications. So some supplements are contraindicated with specific medicine, so you do need to check, and the health food store staff should know that. But in terms of generally what brands that we use, there's good brands in all of the health food stores, like NHP, we use quite a lot of, BioCare, Solgar. So it is worth having a look out for those brands and talking to the people in the health food stores. If you're going in to look for help with something like stomach problems, or just in general that you want something to make sure you're getting all your nutrients, do ask them. So in terms of general tips, the kind of the top, well, 8 tips. It was going to be top 10, but I stopped at 8. Eat a variety of foods. That's probably the most important thing that you can do. Where possible, eat as wide a variety of foods. Eat little and often. So very important to maintain blood sugar, to maintain good health. Doesn't mean that you add in, if you're not eating snacks now, that you add in more food. It means that you're eating throughout the day, giving your digestion a chance to work, and particularly if you're worried about maintaining weight, that you're eating regularly when you feel like it to maintain your weight and increase your nutrient levels. It's very important to take time to eat as well and chew your food properly. Your stomach doesn't have teeth, so if you don't chew your food properly and eat on the run, as many of us do, your digestion is starting off on the back foot. Also, when you're stressed, your blood flow is shunted away from your digestion, so it is very important just to take a little bit of time when you're eating. I've banged on plenty about sugar today, but I really do think it's important to avoid sugar where you can, for general health, but also particularly when we're looking at supporting your immune system. Keep hydrated throughout the day. Take steps to manage stress levels, gentle exercise, and think positive. I have one of my patients is an oncologist, and she said that the one thing that stood out for her beyond anything else was the power of positive thinking in terms of treatment. So keep positive, and I think that is my presentation. I have some meal ideas. Would you like me to go through some meal